Hello and welcome to Zpandem with Divyasri Bagrodia. I'm extremely honored to have Mr. Ashish Chauhan here today. Mr. Chauhan is the Managing Director and CEO of the Bombay Stock Exchange and is known as the father of modern financial derivatives in India. He has won several prestigious awards and is an alumnus of IIT Bombay and IIM Kolkata. Mr. Chauhan is credited with making BSE the fastest exchange in the world. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, today, and welcome to Zpandem.
Thank you.
Sir, as a leader of the BSE, you have phenomenal processes in terms of risk management, speed of exchange, information security, and so on. And so, what lessons do you have for Gen Z and for businesses of the future to prepare for black swan events like these and the uncertainty that they bring with them?
The resilience is one part. Many times we don't create processes or plans which are backups.
Right.
Even if we create plans, they remain in plans only. They don't get executed ever. So my take home from all this is that we were well prepared ourselves, the entire ecosystem of stock markets, because we are basically nobody if we don't have brokers. We are only one organization. We have 1,400 brokers, and they have like 200 to 300,000 terminals and 1 million people working on it. And the entire system was ready. At the same time, all banks were also working hard. All the mutual funds were working hard. Depositories were working hard. Clearing corporations for risk management working hard. So entire system had to work for us to work on the next day of March 23rd. It was announced suddenly the lockdown, and we were told to continue the business. Now, the police were not ready to allow our people across the country to move around, to go to their offices, talk to their customers. And we have like 5 crore customers registered with us, investors. And so imagine the kind of chaos if the money doesn't come in time of the customers who have bought the shares, and shares do not come in time for the customers or investors who have sold their shares. And so we had to do this on a real-time basis. Everyone burnt midnight oil. But fortunately, next day, we started in time. All the settlements happened in time. And that is basically what I call the spirit of India. That India doesn't stop despite all the lockdown, and also following the lockdown process. It's not that any one of our brokers or their employees or their investors ended up kind of violating any norms of lockdown. It's just that we were so automated and we were so ready to even take over from other centers where we have backup sites, disaster recovery sites, and so on and so forth. And we started pretty much working with literally 5% of the employees. So one day we had like 100% employees present. And next day, when you start on next week, weekend onwards, you start the next day, and you have only 5% employees, and every process is working, right? So that is basically the hard work that has gone over last 10 years with the regulators and everyone working to ensure that the Indian stock market system is the most resilient in the world. And that is what basically, for me, the youngsters have gone through this. We had not gone through this kind of things before. You have gone through. You will always remember this. You will always worry about the worst case, and worst case is something which you have not even planned for, right? And this came, and we were in a way fortunate to survive this without any hiccups. But you will always remember this, and you will always plan for this, and ensure that what you plan for, you also try to execute on weekends, on your spare time, so that it doesn't remain on your mind, but you are able to actually put it in place when the time comes.
Right, so I think that's something every Indian should be proud of. So, as we all know, the pandemic is changing jobs, careers, and businesses. And as a result, what changes in investment, savings, and consumption patterns do you see over the next couple of years?
Each generation, each decade practically gets its own newer issues, newer problems. Some of them are man-made, some of them are societal, some of them are long-term trends, and
Right.
some of them are sudden. Many societies also get their internal issues out in open, like America has
Right.
issues which are coming up in Black Lives Matter and other
Mhm.
things. Similarly, China seems to be going through its own problems. That's why it's trying to affect everyone else by trying to hide its own problems. And they are not even giving the numbers after, I think, first month, 80,000 remains constant in terms of the number of people affected. And you can see the worries in each society, people who manage those societies. And it's not new. But many times the world has seen what I call uh, combined problems. Like in 2008-9, there was a huge issue on global financial crisis.
Right.
Many youngsters coming out used to ask me what will happen to them, what will happen to their jobs, whether jobs will exist, whether world will collapse. And each 10 years in my own career and my life, I have seen some really path-breaking, epoch-changing events. And we always think this is like it. There is nothing worse than this that is going to happen, or nothing better than this that's going to happen. Better things happen slowly. The worst thing happen suddenly and take us by
Right.
surprise. But it is a part and parcel of life. The mankind has seen more and worse situations before. India has seen worse situations before, and it has, in a way, come out over last 3 months as a rock uh, for the rest of the world by giving a lot of medicines to the world, by giving doctors to the world, by running their economies using BPOs and softwares and all. And we have not stopped any of that thing despite our 70 days lockdown. So I think overall India is doing well, and everyone should be happy that India has done better than others.
Right, sir. Absolutely, sir. So what advice do you have for Gen Z in terms of key skills, attitudes, and mindsets that would help us take this forward, sir?
The risk management, as you rightly pointed out, is a large issue which is hovering in our minds today, because that risk which we did not even think of. So there are, I think, Don Rumsfeld used to be the Secretary of State for US during George Bush's time,
Yeah.
when 2001 the World Trade Center bombing happened, the planes went in, and that time a lot of risk management was happening post that the discussions, and he identified in a layman's term. Many people laughed at it that time. There are known risk. There are what is called known knowns that you can actually plan for it, and then there are known unknowns.
Yeah.
So you can think about them, and then there are unknown unknowns. And for me, when you look back, a lot of people laughed at Rumsfeld, but today they know this unknown unknown. Or in Nassim Taleb's, there is one of the better thinkers of our time, a guy called Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He wrote a book called Black Swan. Uh, this is a clear black swan. That this uh, kind of situations you will continue to remember for your life, but you need to also move forward. And what is it that you need to learn, since all of you have got 3 months or 4 months from schools away, even colleges, some of you would have been going to colleges. So what is it that is going to happen? You can always create your views based on the past, and you get more affected by the recent past,
Correct.
that is the COVID. But what is it that is going to happen in future? If you can anticipate what is going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, then you can make your plans, and also work in a way that you come out winners as individuals, as group, as societies. And for me, the way I look at it is, currently the world is going to basically explode in terms of the newer things that are going to happen. What used to happen in, say, 100 years is now going to happen in every 5 years, 10 years, which means that the skills you require also will have to change every 5, 10 years. You have to unlearn a lot. You have learned over 17, 18 years of your lives, or some of you are 20-year-olds. You have learned, and in my generation, even generations before me, we used to learn for 20, 25 years, and then live life for next 50 years or 70 years. And so one skill we learned did not change much. So effectively, we could earn out of our learnings in first 25 years of our life. It will not happen to you. You will have to literally unlearn every 5 years what you have learned in the past and learn newer things. People who can change themselves faster to newer things like big data is coming, artificial intelligence, drones, robotics, uh, in terms of exoskeletons, uh, artificial intelligence. Yeah, you can just think 2030 space technologies. 2030 such technologies are coming, and on top of that, there will be 2030 more coming up every 5-10 years, and you'll have to literally be running a race. It's like riding a tiger. The ride is going to be uncomfortable, but if you get down, it'll eat you up. So you'll have to continue to ride that uncomfortable ride. But whoever is able to change themselves continually, see forward, and plan for that. Some of them will, of course, not, those futures which you plan for may not happen. Those futures you imagine may not happen, but some of them may happen in a different way, slightly different way, and still you'll be able to ride it. And for me, try to ride those waves like surfing. You might have heard of surfing. A good wave comes and it takes you far, but you have to be in search of the wave, right? And so be in the search of the new wave, and continue to move from one wave to another to just stay afloat. Otherwise, you stay there and you drown, right? So for me, that is the lesson I would learn, that our lives were very simple. We learned for 25 years and earned for next 25, 30, 50 years. You will have to live a different life. That's why we can't guide you much. You will have to be your own guide. No, it's a wonderful thing. I think you've ensured that you are using your time well, and you also been using the right technology to talk to people, to also create something which your friends can use. And for me, I think it's something you should be proud about. And my best wishes, and hope India achieves its rightful place going forward in the rankings in the world. Thank you.
I hope to, sir. Thank you so much for being here.